What is up, Buckeye Nation? Floco here. Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, helps the channel grow. We appreciate all of you for your love and support over the many years we've been doing this. We bring you as much continuing to try to improve, continuing to try to reach Buckeye Nation as much as possible. We thank you for that, as always, for your receptiveness, for your love and support, as always. God bless you guys. We have a big game this weekend. I wouldn't say big. Yeah, we're not going to say big, but it could be a potential frustrating trap type game. Ohio State 5-0 at Purdue 2-4 at Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana. Ohio State is favored by 19, and the over/under is 50.5 points. And the network is Peacock at noon. Peacock, a game on Peacock. I can, the collective groan. I think I'm speaking for everybody right now in the collective groan of Peacock, for crying out loud. Anyway, can't do anything about it. If you want to watch the game, you got to get Peacock. If you like The Office, you might want to just go ahead and get it. So, anyway, guys, Ohio State is 5-0. Purdue being 2-4. A little bit interesting on this. I was looking into this. I think their record's a little bit deceiving. They're 2-4 in the year, yes, but that record could be deceiving because they lost to a 5-1 Iowa by 6 points. They lost to a 5-1 Fresno State by 4. They were beaten soundly by Wisconsin and Syracuse, who are a combined 8-3 on the season. They beat Virginia Tech at 2-4 and Illinois. Now, granted, those are not two impressive wins, but that being said, they've been in games with really solid football teams. So I don't think there's some terrible football team at 2-4. Plus, we all know the history of Ross-Ade Stadium in Ohio State. No, I didn't freeze up there. It's just I mean, it's giving me a heart attack. I had to slow down for a second there because the last time we were there in 2018, we all know what happened, the Tyler Trent game, which was bittersweet, obviously, because, Tyler being the position he was in physically, it was nice. It was nice for him to get to experience that, obviously, in some of his last days on this earth, but may he rest in peace, obviously. And also rest in peace to one of our best quarterbacks in Ohio State history, Dwayne Haskins, both tragically passing at a very young age. I just, you just got to almost expect this game to be a little bit frustrating, and I think I found some reasons what could make it a frustrating game. But first, I want to go over some key players here. We're going to start with the Purdue quarterback, Hudson Card, a transfer from Texas. He was a starter at Texas at one point. I believe Quinn Ewers is the one who actually took his job. Hitting at about 64% completion percentage rate, 1,491 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions passing. He's been sacked 14 times. That has an additional 3 rushing touchdowns, so 9 total touchdowns. From what I've read about him and watched on him, he's a little bit inconsistent, but he's helpful in the run game because of his dual ability. Averages about 6 per attempt passing, which obviously means I don't really anticipate some over-the-top plays from Purdue. They're not really a big play team from what I can tell. Not that they haven't had any this year, just not very consistently. They will definitely keep the ball in front of you. So it'll be interesting to see how Jim Knowles wants to attack this defense or offense. Do we keep doing what we've always done this entire year and play bend but not break, less aggressive, not as much blitzing, more zone, and we keep people in front of us and don't allow the big play to happen because that was a big focus on and going into this year defensively is to stop those big plays. They've been successful so far. That's indisputable. Will they continue to do that against Purdue, who's not really known to be a big play team? Do we want to keep that? Keep what's working, or do we want to maybe go a little bit more aggressive and get the defensive backs on the line of scrimmage to jam up the receivers as much as humanly possible? There's only a problem with that, and I'll get into that in just a second. There's only one problem I think I could see with that, but it's going to be hard for our defensive ends to get a lot of pressure and get home if they're getting the ball out of the hands of Hudson quickly. But here's another interesting thing. Believe it or not, we're going to get into the run game here for Purdue. It's actually fairly effective. Devin McCoby averages about 4.2 yards per carry at 368 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tyrone Tracy Jr. averaging about 6 yards per carry with 5 TDs and 296 yards. The longest run between the two of them has been 25 yards on the season. Again, not many big plays. They can gash you a little bit, though. The run game against Maryland wasn't great, but the last 3 games, Ohio State's allowing about 3.5 yards per carry, which isn't terrible. But again, Maryland gashed us a little bit, caused us a little bit for concern. The linebackers are not playing exceptionally well right now, especially in coverage, which also concerns me in a game like this because they're going to have to clog the middle lanes. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of tactics Purdue takes to maybe disguise and disrupt and confuse our linebackers as they've been. I mean, they shouldn't be. They've been in Ohio State's program for 90 years now, and they've probably seen most anything. So I hope maybe this could be a bounce back game for them, but I'm just not sure. I think this type of offense might give our linebackers some fits. Going into the passing game again, they like to spread the ball out around. There's like the top 4 receivers are all around that 22 to 25 catch range, but their main playmaker is Deion Burks at 16 and a half yards per catch. He has an 84-yard touchdown on the year, and he's fast. He can break tackles. He's shifty. His 84-yard TD was an underneath route, and he just broke it because there was a couple missed tackles. He's really fast. You're not catching from behind. He did the bulk of the work on that play. It wasn't Hudson Card just throwing a 50-yard bomb, beautiful pass. And I'll say this: Ohio State has to be sure on their tackling. Absolutely, the safeties have got Proctor, Ransom, Sonny. You've got to be sure tacklers. Jahad Carter, when you come in, all of you sure tacklers in space because he will burn you if you're not. The long catch outside of that is 43 yards by TJ Sheffield. It's averaging around 12 yards a catch. Again, not big plays, not something that we can worry about. But there is a caveat to this, though, that could be detrimental to Ohio State. Their offense plays right into Ohio State's defense bend but not break. It could be a frustrating day if we're allowing them just to kind of gash us and move on down the field. Because again, it's not something that's boom or bust. It's something that just kind of slowly knifes you down the field. I can see a lot of drives where they'll be really frustrating for Ohio State fans to watch the defense kind of give up their downs and we're going to get more into that, but and let the offense kind of move down the field. But first, let's talk about Purdue's defense. Josh Fryer and Jimmy Simmons have their work cut out for them as their outside linebackers, defensive ends, Kydron Jenkins and Nick Scorton both have 4 and 3.5 sacks each, respectively. You can even ask the Purdue side of things. Those guys are actually good at putting pressure on the quarterback, so the tackles have to be on point. And what concerns me about that is I've seen Simmons, honestly, in guys like Chip and whatnot, who were expected to help on the outside and chip a little bit, chip the defense. I mean, no pun intended, chip the defensive end or whatever. And Simmons will block down and just let the guy roam free. It gets a little bit frustrating at times. The communication between the offensive line has to be on point, especially on the outside when they're trying to protect Kyle McCord's backside. Their leading, I'd say, tackler on defense is a center fielder defensive back named Dylan Thieneman. I think he's a freshman, actually, too, and he has 53 tackles with 3 interceptions. His big game is he roams the center field, and he has good closeout speed, not unlike a former Buckeye, now Dallas Cowboy, and Malik Hooker. I think a lot of Buckeye fans, when they hear that name, will understand exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about this defensive back. So there's some key players to watch out for, obviously, who are going to impact the game one way or another. But let's talk about the last 3 games, some key game stats that we can look into as this game unfolds that I think are going to be a little bit problematic for Ohio State. We all know Ohio State has problems getting out the field on third down, though it's not as bad as a lot of Ohio State fans think. It's around a 35% clip the defense is allowing. But sometimes it just seems like an opportune moment. The defense just cannot get off the field. Purdue is really good on third down on offense, converting around 51% in the last 3 games. It's about 46% of the season, but the last 3 games have been even better than that on a 5. I mean, that's 50% on third down is excellent. The thing is, it's been killing Purdue more than anything is they just get in their own way. Turnovers are a problem. They have 5 lost fumbles, 13 fumbles, so 8 other opportunities for defenses to turn them over, but they have 5 lost fumbles on the year, and Hudson Card has 5 interceptions. They're -3 on the season in ratio. That's obviously not good. And I could see that if they turn the ball over, then I could see where Ohio State runs away with this game. Otherwise, I'm not seeing a path to that. Because here's another problem for Ohio State. Purdue runs about 75 plays per game, and they are better than Ohio State on time of possession. comparatively, Ohio State is running about 64 plays per game, and we're far better on points per play than Purdue. We're much more efficient on offense, but they hold on to the ball. Um, Points per play, Purdue's around 0.33 and Ohio State's around 0.61, just for reference there. And that's over the last 3 games. So actually, the funny part about Ohio State is as much as the frustration was to watch against Notre Dame in Maryland sometimes with the offense, we actually last 3 games have gotten better as the season's gone on with our points per play and got more efficient on offense. That's something to at least because it was 0.54, now it's 0.61. For the season, it's 0.54, I should say, but the last 3 games has been 0.61. So we're doing better than our season average, and we're actually somehow getting more efficient offensively. That's just what the stats say. Don't yell at me. And honestly, that gave me a little bit of cause or a little bit of you know rejuvenation in the offense because I know we've been frustrated with the offense at times. And I start thinking to myself, man, if maybe we're actually getting a little bit better on offense. Ironically, even though against Maryland, it looked like we didn't even know what we were doing. But here's let's talk about the run game a little bit. Is there a chance of a run game resurgence against Purdue? Because we need to start showing signs of life before we play Penn State the week before or week after. Purdue is around 86 in the country, allowing 154 yards per game. They're allowing an average of 4.7 yards per carry over the last 3 games. Can we improve? I mean, we're going to need to start showing those signs of life. Like I said, is this an opportunity to maybe show that the run game is starting to come to life a little bit? I don't know. I think it's going to have to. But the problem is if Purdue isn't turning the ball over, they're good at holding on to the football for long periods of time. We're going to have to make every drive count. Every drive count. Let's just say, though, if Purdue turns the ball over, let's say 2 to 3 times, I could see Ohio State blowing up the score, like I said, and then I would take the over at 50.5. But I think this game could end up being, there's rain forecast. It could end up being very frustrating with Purdue staying on the field for long periods of time while maybe not scoring many points. That just limits Ohio State's chances to score. And even though, like I said, we're being more efficient on offense in recent weeks, I could see like a 28-13 type of game for Ohio State. I think that would obviously frustrate a lot of Buckeye fans, but a win is a win. And I also think you have to consider the fact Ohio State may be looking ahead to Penn State just a little bit. Combined with the fact we don't have a ton of luck in Ross-Ade Stadium and West Lafayette, I'd just be happy to come out with a solid win. I mean, a win is a win is a win is a win. If it's ugly, it is what it is. But you want to just get out of the win time statistically for Ohio State. So that's actually a positive. You want to see Kyle McCord continue to improve, even take small steps. You want to see that offensive line keep him clean. If Simmons and Fryer can keep those outside linebackers off of McCord most of the game, I think that's a bonus and a positive. And if Ohio State can cause Purdue to commit turnovers and they can get them off the field and maybe do really well on third down and look for that, then all of a sudden you can start feeling like Ohio State's starting to get better in the areas where they need to improve, and therefore you can look a little bit more forward to the Penn State game and say, okay, we at least are starting to improve in the areas where we need. And Purdue really, I think, ironically, as much as most people think it's going to be a blowout, I think Purdue actually provides a pretty solid test in some of these areas. I think we get a 28-13 type battle unless Purdue just starts turning the ball over like crazy. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. As I asked in the front of the beginning of the show, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with other Buckeye fans and Buckeye Nation. Appreciate you guys for the love and support you've always given us, guys. Just again, enjoy the game. It goes by so fast. As always, goodbye, guys. God bless, and go Bucks.